All right, here's yet another problem. This is why we like guess and check so much too, is that this problem, which is about a rectangular lawn and finding the length and width, um, it's so different from this last problem, which was a guess my number problem, or the first problem we looked at, which was this age problem. Okay, it doesn't matter what the problem's about, that guess and check can be used for just about anything. All right, so let's take a look. Mr. Martin, the groundskeeper, is in charge of mowing the lawn. The lawn is rectangular and the length is 5 feet more than twice the width. The perimeter of the lawn is 250 feet. What are the dimensions of the lawn? Use a guess and check table to create an equation and solve the problem. All right, so if you read that to yourself a couple times, probably the place we want to start off with here is either guessing the length or the width of this garden or this lawn. Now in this case, I'm going to go with width. Okay, and here's why. When I read this sentence, I can see that the length and the width are related. But if I choose to make the width my guess, it's a little easier to come up with the length, because it says here the length is 5 feet more than twice the width. So whatever the width is, I take twice that and add 5 more feet. I get the length. If I were to make the length the guess, I can do that. But it just makes life a little more difficult, because then I've got to take the length, I have to subtract away this 5 feet, and then I have to divide that answer by 2 to get back to the width. Okay, so I'm not saying you can't do length, but I'm just saying sometimes if you look ahead a little bit, it's sometimes easier to do one versus the other. All right, anyways, let's guess our width. I'm just gonna, 10's been working fine. I'm gonna go for 10 feet. All right, so now I can jump to the length. And this is the part, hopefully now, which is easier. The length is 5 more feet than twice the width. So twice the width would be 20, 2 times 10, and 5 more than that would be 25. All right, now we've got a width of, let's actually draw this out. Here's our rectangular lawn, 10 by 25. Now what we're supposed to check is to see, does the perimeter equal 250? Okay, now don't forget, perimeter is like running a lap around this lawn. We want this outside border. Okay, so this 10 and 10 and the 25 and the 25 all added up. So here in our guess and check table, we'll put perimeter. And so we've got two widths, 10 and 10. So let's just do this. We'll just do 2 times 10 plus 2 lengths. So 2 times whatever the length is. In this case, the length was this piece right here. 2 times 10 plus 5. Twice the width plus 5 more. Okay, it looks a little confusing, but this will get cleared up later. Okay, in this case, this turns out to be 70. Okay, which is way too low. All right, so here's where you might want to pause once in a while, because I just wrote this out. It's a little hard to see my handwriting when it gets this complicated. So let's take a look here. Let's say I guess much higher. So here's my next one. Let's say I guess the width to be 50. Well, I do 2 times 50 plus 5, because again, the length is 5 more feet than twice the width. I get 105. And then we add up all 4 sides. So 2 of those sides are 50. 2 of those sides are 2 times 50 plus 5. Okay, so we're just taking this 50, which is this 50 here, and making 2 of them. We're taking this, which is this, and again 2 of those, because there's 2 lengths and there's 2 widths on this rectangle. Turns out to be 310, and it's too high. Okay, and just for an example, I threw in one more guess here, which is no one would probably make this guess because 10 was already too low. But once again, I just want to reestablish the fact that we don't care. We're just trying to establish a pattern here. We don't care if the guesses make sense or not. So even though 10 was too low, I've got another guess here of 7. And you can see we're just using the same pattern. Double the width plus 5, 19. To add up all 4 sides for the perimeter, we've got 2 of those 7s plus 2 of this 2 times 7 plus 5. Turns out to be 52, is too low. Okay, here's the part we care about. We want to see how to make the equation from that. Okay, so our width is our guess, so it makes sense to make our variable w Okay, and if we do that and we follow our pattern, here's what we get. If W is the width, the length is 5 more feet than twice the width, so 2W plus 5. The perimeter is 2 of these widths, so 2W, plus 2 of these lengths, which is 2 times W plus 5, and that's supposed to equal 250. Okay, so if I clean that up a little bit, that's our equation. So 2W, let's get rid of those parentheses, let's just write it like this, 2W plus 2 times 2W plus 5. I'll clean that part up a little bit too. And that's supposed to equal 250. Okay, so again, we just took our pattern, used it to make the equation. Now we can solve this equation. All right, so simplify and solve. I see these parentheses here, which means we probably want to do distributive property right here. So this would be 4W plus 10. Recopy the rest. We've got some like terms here, 2W plus 4W, which is 6W. So 6W plus 10 equals 250. That's as simplified as we can get it, so now we can start solving. So if I were to do a road map, it would say that they took W, times it by 6, and added 10. So we're going to go in the reverse direction. Oops. We're going to subtract 10 from both sides. We get 6W equals 240. Divide by 6. So the width is 40 feet. And it asks for the dimensions, so that means they want the length too. So the length, so it's 40 feet, and let's see here. The length is 5 feet more than twice the width. So twice 40 would be 80, plus 5 more feet would be 85 feet. So it's a 40 foot by 85 foot rectangular lawn. Okay, but again, what I want you to focus on is how we got to here. This is what we want to get better at. Okay, it's coming up with the equation based on the guess and check pattern.